Hi everyone. Welcome back. So I have this very fun video that I'm going to do today. This Sunday. You guys who are tuning in live have the opportunity to ask me anything here in this video while I paint my sugarcane stick. Now, I receive a lot of inbox messages from various people asking me to tell them more about myself, more about my background, where I come from. And I'm like, here's the opportunity. Here's your chance. Here's your chance to get to learn more about me while I paint. Now, I imagine this video is not going to take that long. And when I mean long, when I say long, I mean like over, I don't know. It shouldn't be over an hour. I don't think so. Because look, okay. So this is a bamboo stick here. I say bamboo. This is a sugarcane stick, right? Now, I got this from Brooklyn. It had to be over 2 years ago I got this sugarcane stick. And when I got it, it was, of course, green. Now the color has definitely evaporated, has faded away. But I still have it. And I purchased it from this guy. I think he sells like juices out in front of Nicholas Brooklyn. It's a very popular store. It's an important staple in the Brooklyn community on Fulton Street. And he makes these juices, and I saw he had like bundles of the sugar cane. I'm like, yo, can I get one? And I think he thought I was talking about like a juice. I'm like, no, I want the actual sugar cane. So he sold me this. I don't think he charged that much. I think it was like $5 or $7, $8 for this stick here. But I'm like, yay. And it reminds me so much of my hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. So we're going to get into that in a minute. But I am trying to figure out which brushes. So I did purchase a new set. This is my new set of paint brushes here. This is my old set. I might use the new, but I realized, you know what? The old set actually has thicker. So I'm going to just put that on standby. And I'm trying to figure out which colors I am going to use for this video here. Let's see. Now while I do this, you guys feel free. I feel like you guys miss out on the opportunity. I know you guys like to just watch me talk, right? But oftentimes, like I said, you guys will pop up in my inbox and ask me questions, wanting to have like, I guess, a private conversation. And here is your opportunity right now. Here's your opportunity. Ask me anything. Let's see. I really love this color. So it's definitely going to be multicolored, like many, many different colors. And funny enough, when I first moved into this spot here, I invited a friend over, a really good African friend over. He's from Gambia, and he came in, and this was like, I had just got the keys to this place, right? And he was like looking around. He was like, it's like the White House in here. And I was like, yo, I just moved in here. So I think him saying that to me kind of sparked this energy of wanting to be artistic and create. And from there, it was just, the rest is just history. You know, I just went bonkers. But yeah, so I'm pulling out the colors, and I'm going to put here on my palette. Hi, welcome, welcome. You guys feel free to come on in. Come on in the room. Don't be shy. I'm in a really good mood today. I'm in a very, very good mood today, actually. So that's why you guys can go ahead and ask me anything. What is going on? I'm actually about to paint I'm pulling out, actually, I don't know why I'm like going through this, because I'm probably going to use all of these different colors. But I definitely got to get my palette set up. So I'm about to throw down. I'm about to start painting, okay? This is a paint video dubbed as a Ask Me Anything video Q&A. You're finally on time. Yeah, you just joined, so feel free to start the conversation. I'm letting you guys lead the conversation. You can ask me anything. Not to say I'm going to answer, but hey, worth a try. All right, I think I have what I'm going to use here. So, to date, since I started painting back, I think it was sometime in the fall of 2020. I forget the month. It seemed like so long ago. I actually have painted over 150 paintings. You have a lot of questions? All right, yo, we got time. I got time today. I'm in a good mood. I know sometimes I come on here, I'm very abrasive, but I have been more self-aware, and I think I'm going to tone it down a little bit. There's no need for me to be a bitch, right? I look back at my videos. I do. I look back at my videos. I take an honest reflection. I'm like, damn, I was freaking mean. Why am I so freaking mean? I don't have to be that way. Sometimes I do, but I am in a really good mood. So ask away. Yo, I got paint for days, yo. These two colors. These are metallic colors here. What made you want to get into BDSM? That is a very loaded question. So I'll take it back to 2014 when I was living in Atlanta, Georgia. I was in a relationship, but the relationship kind of had run its course. It was like a 5-year platonic relationship. We only had sex like one time, right? But it was a really good friend of mine. We went through like a lot of shit together. Like we went through the trenches. I know I'm going to use orange, yellow, and red. So let's start with that because orange, yellow, red, and green, right? Those are the colors of Africa. And in that relationship, Brandon, it was like my best friend, right? And I know he doesn't like me telling this story, but hey, it is what it is. So it was more platonic. We weren't really having sex. Like I said, that relationship lasted 5 years. We only had sex like literally one time. And with that, for me, like, I'm very self-disciplined. Like, I can go years without having sex. So that really wasn't an issue. It kind of was in the sense that, like, of course, I like intimacy. I'm a sexual being. And so I think it just increased my desire, my urges to let my inner sexual energy just kind of flow, right? And I always had this desire to be dominated and to be like, I always imagined, this is like going back to when I was a little kid. And I think I talked about this before in another video, how I link my affinity towards BDSM, specifically like bondage, spankings, to my childhood experience, right, growing up. Because my mom, she was a disciplinarian of the household. And the way I look at it now, like looking back, I would say, yes, I was abused. I was physically abused with my mom. I don't hold that against her necessarily, though, but I I think people should take accountability for what they do. But yeah, I mean, she did the best that she could. And like most people growing up in the South would say, that is just the way things were, you know? So I don't want to get too much into that. But I definitely would link it back to my early childhood experiences and just having to endure significant amounts of physical pain. and turning that into a pleasure, turning that into an acceptable form of love, so to speak, right? So this is in my childhood, I came to realize this, right? But I wasn't able to obviously practice it because I'm still a child, right? I'm not of age yet. So it's just, it was a fantasy that grew within me in my childhood, and it carried over to my adolescence, to my adulthood. I still hadn't had the chance to like experience this. So it's something I had been holding on for many, many years. And then in 2014, as I said, I kind of reached the course of that 5-year relationship that I was in with my best friend. And I was imagining, so that was a time when Craigslist personals was in full effect, right? So I had went on there, I know, kind of very risque, but I was trusting the universe in this process. And I went on to Craigslist personals back in 2014, and I posted a Craigslist ad. And I don't remember exactly the wording, but I pretty much said, like, you know, I'm looking to explore my submissive side, right? And of course I got a lot of responses, but as I was reading through the responses, you know, what's important to me when it comes to me connecting with a person is trust, obviously. And that ties into like dealing with people, you know, who are sane people, average people, working people. So I met this guy who happened to hold a master's degree. And are you going to paint anything? Okay, so I think this is before you came in. I'm going to paint this sugar cane here. I got the idea. It kind of just sparked in my mind yesterday. This is actually the first 3D object that I am painting. All my other paintings are on canvas and are on wood, but this is my very, very first 3D object that I'm painting. So I'm going to paint this. You guys will see how it's going to come out. I'm going to trust the process. And I'm going to mix that yellow, which is, this is cadmium yellow hue. I'm going to try to mix it with it. I need to get some more paint. I'm running out. Funny enough, I think this is also cadmium yellow medium hue here. I'm going to mix these two together. And so, yeah, it's like the rest is history. After I posted that ad and I came across this guy, he was working in the same field that I work in, which is mental health. Just, you know, he was my match. So I encourage you guys who haven't read my snippet of my book, Dying to Submit, on my website, read that story. That'll give you more insight into that. All right, that was the first question. Next question. I need to get some more paint. How do you get into African culture, Black consciousness, etc.? That's a good question. It seems like a lot of my experiences and my awakening and my exploration have been linked to relationships, right? So, like your first question asked, how do I get into BDSM? Well, that obviously was linked to a relationship, and he kind of ushered me into that. He was my mentor back then in 2014, and we didn't have intercourse, right? Funny enough, we did not have penetrable sex, but it was, oh my gosh, it was sexual energy exchange on so many different levels. All right. I'm going to do some green. And so, in terms of consciousness, when I moved to New York in 2014, right, I had obviously left my partner at the time. He decided to stay back in Atlanta. Not that I left him back there, but he wanted to stay. Like, that was his choice. It was like he had the option to come, but he he, like, for me, I'm very adventurous. He was more like wanting to just stay in his comfort zone. I'm like, okay, cool. But we still remained friends after that. But I left Atlanta, moved to New York in 2014 to just expand my horizons, right? That's the kind of person I am. I immediately fell in love when I moved here. And I fell in love with this guy from Brooklyn, former military, Jamaican. He was definitely into that consciousness stuff. And I remember we went on a date to, it's going to be so pretty. I think I'm going to use a lot of green. We went on a date. Actually, I might add some more orange. No. Orange on the side of the yellow. We went on a date to, I think, Coney Island Boardwalk, the beach. And we had this discussion. I love to have like intellectual-based discussions, but we were talking about religion. And we got on the topic of race, the color, the skin tone of Jesus Christ. And at the time, I was a Christian. I was still practicing Christianity. He wasn't, right? He had stepped away from that. And so he was convinced, he was trying to convince me that it doesn't matter the color of Jesus, right? And I was like, no, I was trying to convince him it doesn't matter. Sorry. I was trying to convince him it doesn't matter. He was telling me, no, it does matter. He was like, the color does matter. Color does. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. What doesn't matter, right? It's about the spirit that he holds and the consciousness of Jesus Christ, right, and what he represents. We got into that. But that wasn't our first date. That was one of our first dates. Our first date actually was at his place, in a nice, really nice place in the Bronx. Let's squeeze it out. And we saw Hidden Colors. It's a documentary series by Tariq Nasheed, who lives in Los Angeles. And we watched that documentary series. I think at the time it was like only first 3 parts are out. I think now it's like 5 parts that are out. And I did have a chance to meet Tariq Nasheed in person in Los Angeles when I was living out there. Yeah, I gotta go broad stroke with this one, because this is pretty big. So, in watching that documentary series, Dr. Umar stood out. And I was drawn to him, obviously, because, you know, I'm a psychologist. At the time, I wasn't a psychologist, though. I had a degree, a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I was working towards a master's degree in mental health counseling. So that was back in 2014. Fast forward, obviously, now I do have a PhD in clinical psychology, but Dr. Umar, he just stood out to me in the documentary. Like, the way in his delivery, the way in which he spoke, his passion for the Black community, his mission to unite, right, just stood out to me. And yeah, I think it was just perfect timing, right? When I look back at my experiences in that relationship and what I gained, right? Yes, I struggled a lot in that relationship, but at the same time, like, I gained so much, and I don't regret what I learned. I'm trying to figure out. I think actually you usually have it set up like this, right? So this is going to be the bottom. Let me start here. I'm not going to paint this one yet, this part yet, or should I? I think I'm going to do the ends black. I was going to seal it off with the blackness. So this is what I'm working with. These are the colors here. So far, more like earth tone colors. And then I am going to finish the top with like pastel colors. You're going to start with the green. So yeah, I started watching Dr. Umar Johnson interviews. It resonated with me. I think consciousness is something that either resonates with you or it doesn't. For me, I've always been, even though I was raised in a Christian household, I always been like inquisitive, like challenging the status quo, right? And asking questions. Hold on, guys, give me a second here. Now, I have a question for you when I come back. I have a question for you. My question for you is, I think that when we have conversation, the questions and the statements that we make, even if we are asking, oh, hold on, my light. That happens sometimes. There's like a shortage, I think, in this cord. But yeah, even if we like asking questions like directed at someone, I think we're asking for a purpose. It's a reason why you ask that question, I think, as it relates to your own personal experience, your own personal spiritual journey. So with that, I'm wondering, what is your spiritual beliefs? Are you Christian? Ooh, I want to see. Let me see. How can I do this where you guys can see as I'm painting and not really get too much paint on my clothes? But yeah, I was saying, like, when watching that, it spoke to my spirit. Like, watching Dr. Umar Johnson speak, it made a lot of sense. And it's something I think that was already planted inside of me. All right? Like, the things that he was talking about, it's something that was already innate within me. I think that needed to be, like, sparked, needed to be kind of activated again. You know? I think truth is already in us. It's just something that may have been lying dormant and may have been watered down or brainwashed. Right? We have other information that we are washed with in our minds, you know, by these indoctrinations such as like religious teachings and things like that. But when we come back to the truth of what exists at our core, you know, right? Like, you know the truth when you hear it. So, like I said, like, growing up, I always been the type to question, even though I grew up in a Christian household, I always, like, my dad, when I was young, my first book was the Bible, right? He introduced me to that. And I was reading that before I even entered kindergarten. And I would read it religiously, but I still would question. I had so many freaking questions, like, it just didn't make any sense. I didn't take it at face value. You say, that's somewhat true. I'm mainly just curious. I'm not religious at all. I'm not spiritual in the sense of doing affirmation crystals, voodoo. I don't anything like that. I think spirituality and God is just a part of you. I hope that answers your question. I get what you're saying. So you don't like really practice spirituality. Because even spirituality, the way people practice it, like you mentioned, like Vodun, crystals, things like that, that could be a form of religion too. I'm going to use different brushes though. I don't feel like getting up and rinsing this off. Let me see, how do I want to do this? I'm going to do green, red, yellow. Hold on, I'm trying to see something. Or should I do green, yellow, red? Yeah, I think it's like red, yellow, green, right? Red, yellow, green. I think I'm going to do orange, red, yellow, green. All right. I think it's important to kind of go, like, to tap into spirit, to tap into truth. That takes isolation. I mentioned this, like, in my previous video, that we're social beings, but at the same time, I think it's important for us to isolate ourselves. And through the isolation, that's when the truth is activated. Right? When you remove yourself, you detach yourself from all of those things that influence you. Whether it's the media, whether it's social media, whether it's TV, whether it's people, right? Like receiving all these different messages, right? From different stimuli, you got to detach yourself from that. And then that's when the truth begins to activate. And I mean, not just for a short amount of time, but for an extended amount of time through the isolation. When you study like spiritual gurus, you'll see they go into isolation. It's for a reason. And that's when you receive those downloads, the truth downloads from the universe. I had the same thing happen to me when I was 4, when I was taught the Bible. I still learn from both worlds, spiritual and religious. Yeah. So always keep your ears and eyes open to it. All right, I'm going to do yellow here. Pan-Africanism, though, is a political affiliation. It's spiritual too, but it's more of a response. And I talked about this before, how it can be a blessing and a curse, right? To identify yourself as Pan-African and to practice Pan-Africanism. So many layers to this, right? So yes, at the core, it's about embracing one true African identity, right? Tapping back into that African spirituality, tapping back into who we are and where we come from. That's really important, knowing who you are. There's a sense of joy and a sense of pride and peace that comes with tapping back, going back to the core of who we are. So that's what Pan-Africanism is, right? In a simplistic sense. But also, Pan-Africanism is a response. It's a political movement that comes in response to white supremacy, right? So in the previous video, I talked about how unfortunate it can be for us to have to identify with an identity that is a reactionary identity. You know, why can't we just exist? Why can't we just be? Why does our identity as African people have to be in response to another race? That's what Pan-Africanism is. Like I said, it's political. In that there would be no need for Pan-Africanism if white supremacy did not exist. If white people did not exist, it wouldn't even be such a term as Pan-Africanism, right? No need for it. But it's a conscious movement. It's a conscious awareness that there is a strategic agenda by the powers that be, who are in control now. Not that they will always be, or they always were in control, but the powers that be, to dominate us, to dominate our minds, to dominate every aspect of our livelihood. So it's just taking back ownership of who we are. I feel like I naturally isolate myself, mainly words from religious or spiritual context is not in my vocabulary. I see. I think Pan-Africanism has its benefits. Yeah. I think I'm going to end up getting some paint on my clothes. It does. I think that, like, what Dr. Umar Johnson is doing and the likes of Dr. Umar Johnson, he has good intentions set out. It's no different than what any other race of people are doing. Right? They do it naturally, though. It comes natural for them to unite, to build institutions such as banks and schools and libraries and everything, right? That we need to survive, grocery stores, supermarkets. That comes natural for them. No one has to tell them, hey, you need to do this. It's just like, as descendants of enslaved Africans here in the United States, our minds, like, we have been warped. Slavery did a number on us, and even beyond slavery, it still continued to do a number on us, in a sense that we seek to be accepted. We seek validation. That's the whole point of the civil rights, because we were mistreated, because our identity had been stripped from us. Our basic human rights were stripped. That's like the reverse psychology. It did that intentionally so that we can beg to be included. We can beg to be accepted. That's not natural. We don't have to beg another person to live, right? Just to have basic human rights, to have freaking clean drinking water, to have shelter. So when we got that in the form of integration or perceived integration, what we have now, it's like we were placated. Our needs, so to speak, have been met. Our concerns have been assuaged, and then we no longer felt at disease, right? We no longer felt in disarray. We felt like everything is all kosher. Even now, to this day, in this more modernized, so-called modernized society, where when you look at the material things that we have, we possess, we think that this is how life should be. We look at the things that we have, look at the things that white people have, when we see ourselves to be equal. So if we're equal in the mind's eye, then we're okay. There's no need to fight. There's no need to do anything else, when that could be very far from the truth. That is very far from the truth. I feel like sometimes there are some people that make it Pan-Africanism. What do you mean? Some people that make it Pan-African. What do you mean by that? And so I think because we have been inbred with this spirit of resistance and rebellion, due to our historical slavery background, when it comes to black people, black leaders saying, oh, let's unite, they talk about movements such as Pan-Africanism or black nationalism. You got black people that just want to resist that particular, even something that's meant for your good, right? It's in your best interest. They don't want to be a part of it just for the sake of rebelling, right? It's always I think that has always existed, irrespective of slavery. You always have people want to do something different. They don't want to go with what other people are doing. But yeah, relating it back to like other races naturally coming together to survive, pulling together resources and uniting for their own common good. Like that is something that is innate within us. Jim Crow and slavery did a number on us, so that for our own adaptability and survival, we learn to go against each other. But there was a time that we had no choice but to unite. They didn't want us attending their schools. They didn't want us partaking in anything that had anything to do with white people. So we had to build our own. Oh, yeah. It's sad because I feel like they're slowly losing that unifying mindset. I don't think so. Honestly, I think that when it comes to doing what is natural, what is innate, what is necessary for our survival, I think that's something that happens naturally. I don't think it needs to be forced or taught. It can be, though. But I think both processes are happening. I think that on one hand, there is a conscious movement designed to unite Black people globally. And I think in the parallel process, there is this universal thing that's happening. It's something that doesn't need to be guided or taught, or planted in us. It's just something a natural process that naturally happens. You think of any other natural process, just like digestion in the body, right? When we eat food and it digests, that happens naturally. So some things just come around to happening without anything forcing it. And I think that's what's happening on a subconscious level within the Black diaspora, within the African diaspora. Because I feel very comforted when I see, like in videos, just Black people taking a stand for themselves without a movement having to be the guiding force, right? It's just something that happens naturally in us, taking pride and standing up for what's right. You see that. And right now, we don't really have a designated leader, so to speak. All right, I'm going to go, you know what? I was going to go with yellow, not yellow, but orange, but I feel like, okay, that'll work. I was going to say that it feels like it may not, the contrast against orange and red, but I think it might work. Those are good questions. You say you have a lot of questions. Those are good questions. I like this song about Marley. Every little thing is going to be all right. And that's a reminder. Like, there's nothing new under the sun. And I don't think that there's much we have to worry about. Even though many people have been sacrificed and have died just for the color of their skin, I think even that serves a purpose. Loosen up this brush here. I think what I'm gonna do is these ridges I'm gonna paint black. Aha! I read your mind. Look at that. Well, you read my mind. Before I even read your comment, I was just thinking about where I was going to use black. And you already know I have to add black. Black is just a defining element, right? It just separates, or it accentuates, I would say, these colors. I can leave it as is, but when I add black to it, it just brings it out, even makes it pop even more. The thing about manifestation is that it's so real. Like, we can see something in our mind's eye or believe something in our mind's eye, and then it actually comes to fruition. So my place that I'm living in now, like, I envisioned this before I even moved in it. I envisioned what it would look like. I was living in Los Angeles. I'm like, when I moved back to New York, I was saying this to myself that I'm going to get a spot. Now, honestly, I didn't know exactly where in New York I was going to get it, but I said I'm going to get a spot, and in my place, I'm going to have an African theme where it's going to be filled with African art, historical artifacts, and voila. Now, I feel like, granted, because I've been here, 3 years? Been here 3 years in this spot, like, I'm kind of outgrown this space. I need a bigger space, and that's going to happen. I see myself getting like a townhome or one of those brownstones. Yup. I honestly didn't think you'd ask any questions. Ask you any questions? I'm fond of the spiritual practices because of the people I talk to and interact with. Oh, spirituality is very much real, I'm telling you. Our dreams are real. There's something to be understood about what we dream about. Where are you from, by the way? I dream, like, every time I go to sleep, I dream. And I appreciate that. I've always dreamed. I have premonitions, dreams in the form of premonitions, where I'll dream about something before it happens, and then it happens. And then when it happens, I'm not at all alarmed or surprised. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna burn me another incense. I'm gonna take you guys with me. I'm going to this very special place after I finish doing this. It's a surprise. I'm gonna go live when I get there. It's a place out in nature I've never been to before here in New York. But you guys will see. I'm from Arizona, but I'm in Missouri. Missouri? How is that? I don't know anyone that lives in Missouri. That's like the Midwest, right? I don't get asked questions on any influencers that I resonate with. You say you don't get asked questions, you mean by any influencers? You don't? This green, boy, that green is just popping. Yes. Ooh, 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 ooh. I almost touch. I do that sometimes. Not paying attention. I'll like contaminate colors. Almost about to touch the orange. Like, no. Sometimes when people, like, you guys watch, especially those who aren't content creators, y'all don't like being put on the spot. I get it. Sometimes it can be nerve-wracking when you're asked a question or you're put on the spot. You're like, whoa. This is so relaxing and so therapeutic for me, though. Because I'm not used to it. It's almost never happens. What influencers you be watching? I'm curious. Listen, it's only me and you, as you can see right now. It's only me and you. Granted, you know, I do record all my videos live on Facebook, and then I download them and upload them to YouTube so that it can reach a much broader audience. So, yellow. This is coming out nice. But I think when I get, let's see, I'm gonna do yellow, red, orange. Right here. This is gonna be the last pattern. And then from here, I'm gonna do different other colors like pastel, non-earth tone colors. Yeah, what other influencers you watch? Because influencers who have like a bigger platform than what I have, they interact with their viewers. Especially when they're live, they interact. You probably just don't really say anything, just quiet. You did say like you're naturally quiet and isolate yourself naturally. I can tell just from your picture. Arizona was quiet in my experience living there. I mean, it's not that, it's just that I don't expect that from influencers. I'm honestly ready to watch this on YouTube as well. See different types of different types. What other content you like to watch? I'm curious. You are really shy, yo. You are really shy. I can tell that you don't say much. You don't expect it? When influencers go live, that's the whole point of live, to interact with the audience. Now, if you're watching, let's say, influencers on pre-recorded videos, like vlogs they create, that's different. Yes, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I can't wait to buy a house, though, because I'm definitely going to be painting up in that joint. Oh, yes. All kind of designs on the walls. Sugar cane is similar to bamboo, though. They're like of the same plant species. And that's the thing. There's a lot of like duplicates in nature. I was dating this guy very short term, very briefly. And he likes to cook. And this is the thing. I've been trying to tell guys, like, listen, everybody don't like to cook. Just because you like to cook, that's what you like to do, right? You can't like impose your hobbies and interests onto somebody else because that's not everybody's thing. Like my dad, he was a cook of our house. My dad can cook, okay? He can throw down. But that's not something, my mom, she cooked, but, you know, my dad cooked better than my mom. And so this guy was dating, like, you know, because he had this thing where he's like, oh, well, he want his woman to cook for him, this and the other. My silly ass was, like, on board with this shit, right? See, that's the reason why I don't date. I just be fucking in my own zone because these dudes don't appreciate shit. They don't. Any man that would appreciate a woman that's willing to learn, now that I don't know how to cook, okay, but I'm still open to learning various dishes, right, that I don't know how to cook, right? I mean, I know how to cook the basics, you know, things that I eat, right? But we have different cultures, you know. He's Caribbean. I'm from Florida. And he's like, was showing me this one dish that he likes to cook. Fish, right? And so, y'all know I'm a storyteller, so I'll be pulling stories out of the fucking trenches sometimes. But, I'm like, okay, I'm open to learning what you like to cook, what you like to eat, right? So he was like, he invited me over to his place. He was showing me. In the process, I don't even think he really wanted to show me. It's the thing, right? I think, see, some people have unrealistic expectations. Red and orange. They have unrealistic expectations because they be wanting a person, like, do you want this picture perfect, ideal person to just come to you? And that could happen like that, right? But I feel like sometimes that's boring. Like, wouldn't it be better to just meet somebody and y'all both grow and develop along the way? They're not going to be well put together and just perfect. Your ass ain't fucking perfect and well put together. You have some things that you're lacking that I may seek in a partner, but you don't have quite yet. Hell, it would be nice to meet a man that already has his own house. Not living in a fucking apartment or renting a freaking floor in a apartment or house. Have your own shit, you know? But that's a whole nother story. But I'm just saying though, it's like, I find that very interesting. So, like, I'm over there and like he has, and he said that he liked to cook, but listen, I've been around men that are chefs. My dad, for example, cook for large groups of people at that. Not just like to cook, but it's a whole other level of cooking when you cook for a large groups of people, right? And so, like, I know what that shit like. I know what it's like to be around people who know what the fuck they doing and know how to cook. I think this motherfucker was just talking, right? Because I'm looking at him, and he seems so insecure in the kitchen. Like, I'm watching him, like, okay, well, the whole thing was for him to invite me over and to, my picture, I need you to expand. Yeah, your picture, you just look very reserved. You can read a person from their picture, man. I know I can. I study people. Yeah, your picture, you just look very quiet, very reserved. Isn't nothing wrong with that. I watch Abba and Preach, Danica, Marie, Eric Bell. I know nothing about any of those people. My dad did too. I don't take care of a woman knows how to cook. I don't take care of a woman knows how to cook. To be honest, I learned how to cook early on. I don't know what you meant by that. What do you mean by you don't take care of a woman? But yeah, so like the whole thing, I think it would have been really fun, right? For me to come over there and him to really show interest in, like, you know, teaching me to cook this particular favorite meal that he likes. It was like fish and a whole bunch of vegetables. It was like more organic based foods and stuff, right? Because that's what he's on. But instead of being that, like, you know how, okay, you know what cooking shows, right? When you're teaching people certain things, it's not that they don't know anything. The people that your audience that you're teaching, it's not that they don't know anything about any of the food or, you know, anything about cooking. It's just that you are teaching in a way that they fully understand. That's a good teacher. So I'm expecting him to be like, like wanting to show me, right? But he got a whole attitude. He was like, don't ask any questions, just watch. But meanwhile, he's not saying anything about what any of the ingredients are. He's expecting me to know all of the ingredients, not to make any assumptions. It's like, you can't know. For me, I'm a very accurate type of person, right? Like, I'm all about precision. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but that's just how I am. And I'm just like, with each ingredient, that's the whole point. That's how you do recipes. You tell a person, okay, this is this. This is that. He took issue with that, yo. He got annoyed when I was asking him. So he was like, just don't ask any questions. And so I pointed to one of the vegetables, which was garlic. And I asked him, I said, what's this? And I hadn't seen garlic in that form recently. And he was like, what? You don't know what that is? You don't know what that is? I'm like, because it was like a garlic bulb, right? Very small. I'm like, who don't know what garlic is? If you put it to my nose, I guarantee you I would tell you exactly what it is. That's one of my favorite freaking seasonings. I love garlic. Are you kidding me? I'm from the South, okay? I'm from the South. First of all, I think people from the South can cook way better than motherfuckers from the North. That's a fucking fact, okay? I mean, you just think about all of the foods that we from the South eat. Listen. Garlic crabs, are you kidding me? But anyway, so he was like, he made a whole big deal about it. Oh my gosh, you don't know what that is? You don't know? It's like, I just want you to tell me. I think it was more about the experience. And for women, that's what it is for us. It's about the experience. Like, we like the interaction. Just say, hey, and make fun. You have fun with the ingredient. He got all this stuff laid out, all these, vegetables and ingredients laid out, just to have fun with it. I'm asking him, interacting with him, and he's just like shutting me down, just being a fucking dick about everything. So I'm like, okay. I feel like it explored the whole experience, and it made me not want to, I think back to when my dad taught me how to cook. And I was young. I was like a early teenager, right? Early adolescent. And he made it fun. He made it like something that made me excited about it. I asked questions, and I didn't really have to ask questions because he was talking to me, teaching me every step of the way what this was, how much to put in here, just having conversation, along the way. And that's how I think things should be. But I said that to say how, like, a lot of things in nature are duplicates. So for him to make it a big deal about me asking him what that was, I'm like, listen, a lot of things look alike. I'm sure garlic has a look-alike. Everything has a look-alike. Parsley has a look-alike. Oregano has a look-alike. Fucking bamboo and sugarcane and bamboo look alike, right? Until you realize, okay, one is hollow and the other one isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, from a distance, a lot of things look alike. So I just feel like people be ruining shit and stuff like that is the reason why my ass is still single, because I don't like to be around people that want to berate somebody. You're not going to berate me and make me feel less than. Sorry, type, I don't take care if a woman knows how to cook, mainly because I learned how to cook early on. Exactly. I've never heard of garlic crabs. You never heard of garlic crabs? Oh my gosh, where have you been? You've been in the freaking Midwest. But yeah, no other man I've dated that I've been in a serious long-term relationship with cared about that. It's not about, I don't know how to listen. I have cooked. That's the thing. I feel like when you appreciate a woman for what she brings, she'll bring much more. You'll see what she can do, right? You'll see, okay, her weaknesses, things that she can improve in, and things that she actually do. So when looking back at my past relationships, like, that wasn't a big, they don't make a big deal about it. You don't stress something, because you can make a person shut down if you do that. And I feel like that's what he did to me. Like, then I shut down. So you didn't get a chance to see. And like I said, that relationship was very short-lived. I mean, like, very, very, like, weeks, okay? Like, not even probably a month. If that. Not even fucking probably 2 weeks. But he didn't get a chance to see what I bring, right? And what, I can cook. you know, the dishes that I do cook. So I feel like don't make a big deal about it and try to shut a woman down. And that's what he did. And I'm just like, all right, well, his loss. Because then he had this look on his face like, I'm like, why are you looking like that? And he was like, I can't believe you don't know where garlic is. I'm like, I know where the fuck garlic, you kidding? I know where the fuck garlic, who don't know where the fuck garlic is, yo? That to me annoyed me, but I felt like he even admitted like a lot of things that his ass would say and do is to berate a woman. He was like, that's his flaw. That's one of his weaknesses. So he already know this about himself, but yeah, he still do it and wonder why your ass is single. No woman ain't gonna be with your ass, man. I told his ass, you're gonna always fucking be single because no woman who is a self-respecting woman with dignity is gonna fucking tolerate that bullshit. I know I'm not. I'm not gonna sit up here and be disrespecting me. It's deliberate. It's one thing to make a joke, but I feel like it wasn't joking. It was him, you know, trying to put me down. It's like, you gonna do me like that. I know what the fuck I bring to the table. And he was another one of those people, I call them MGTOW motherfuckers, that, you know, really, they don't really like women. That's what it is. And they gonna end up being with a man. You know, they really on that pathway to, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. They really on, they don't even see it, yo. They don't see their own progression. They just don't see it. They're really on that path. That's the plan that they own. To be with another man. Because you can tell by their own ideologies, it's very toxic. How they view women. They just don't have a healthy perspective. And no woman, like I say, no woman that's self-respecting, that's healthy, is going to be with a man like that. That's going to be a red flag. And that's the reason why I shut down. It's like that could have went completely different. My last partner I dated, he was Jamaican. That's the one I met. That's the one that I was talking about earlier that was on Black Consciousness. And he loved to cook. Like, you know, a lot of people, they just raised cooking. I wasn't raised having to cook. I mean, I feel like that's a luxury, if anything, not having to cook. First of all, I was the youngest. So you can imagine, I ain't cooking shit. I'm the youngest in the freaking house. I'm the baby. I did other things, but cooking, no. And so my sister, my older sister, she definitely cooked. Some people, I feel like they cook because they had to cook. I didn't have to cook. That's a luxury, if anything. But yeah, it could have went different. Yeah, so I'm saying like my ex, like the Jamaican guy I met when I moved to New York in 2014, like he showed me how to cook jerk chicken. So that was another thing I got under my belt. We were together for 3 years. We actually lived together. That relationship was like really, it jumped off real quick. Like we lived together all 3 years that we dated. And, you know, his thing was cooking jerk chicken, rice and peas. He made carrot juice. Like that was pretty simple, but yeah. And when I hosted my events, because y'all know I'm an entrepreneur out here in these streets, so I hosted the literary book convention, literary festival, the author book convention that I host through Ubawa. He was a caterer. So that's how that worked. Yeah, he made money. You know? That was his first time ever catering an event of things that he cooked. But this fool that I just dated recently didn't have the foresight to see. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's when you dealing with a person like these men, I call them MGTOW men, that they be so obsessed with focusing on one thing that they miss the forest, right? That you so busy looking at the trees that you miss the whole forest, or however that saying go. But it's just like, you don't see the value that a person brings, right? You so focused on one thing that you miss the big picture. Not even seeing. And I said, listen, you want a maid, go find you a damn maid. And that's what these dudes be describing. They be describing slaves. A woman that cook, a woman that clean. It's like, nigga, who don't fucking clean, right? Come on, that's elementary shit. Sure, all of us grew up fucking cleaning up their damn room, vacuuming, sweeping, mopping. Like, I just feel like it's deliberate. The things that men say, the way they say it, sometimes it's just a big turn off. And I feel like it's very demeaning and it's disrespectful. And it should go without saying. Garlic is everywhere. Yeah, exactly. You hear that from red pill communities. Say more about the red pill community. Yeah, it's toxic. I feel like it's toxic masculinity. And these men wonder why they have a hard time with women. You taking in very toxic messages. Those things should not be in your purview, in your mind. I had to press continue playing on YouTube. But those things should not be in your mind, about a woman. Have a healthy perspective. And if you don't have it, then maybe you need therapy. So you can gain it. You can see, like, these men be having a negative perspective, man, of women. And it's just not about men. Sometimes women have a negative perspective of men too, But it's bogus. All right. So, did I say from here up? You know what? Let me see. Hold on. So, that's almost like halfway, right? I want to do halfway. I want to go a little bit more. I think I'm going to go a little bit more with these colors, and then I'm going to switch to the other colors. But yeah, I knew it was a red flag, and that's when I spot red flags early on. This is before we had even met face to face, where he was saying things like, "Yeah, a deal breaker for me is a woman that when I go to her place, she has dirty dishes in the sink, she's on her cell phone." Like, he was saying things. I'm like, it's kind of questionable. Made me think like, right? And then he was like, just saying, like, oh, she's on her cell phone when she's out on a date. Things like that, or she go back and tell her friends and family everything, right? So I make a note of everything a person says. I don't forget. So lo and behold, we go on a date. The very things that he's saying that he don't like in a woman, his ass doing. He's on his phone during our date, which is a big turnoff, right? He going back telling his friends things that me and him have discussed while I'm sitting there, while we're in the freaking bed. Thank God we did not have sex. We did not have sex. My spirit guides will not allow that. But that shit was annoying, right? And the dishes, right? I go to his place, he got dirty dishes in his sink. But I'm just like, come on. And it really boils down to, I'm gonna make a whole video on this, y'all, but this topic because it really boils down to when people start nitpicking and saying little petty shit like that, it really boils down to it's deeper than that. It's not the surface level things of, oh, I don't like when a woman does this or a woman. It really boils down to you just don't like women. Let's get to the bottom of it, right? A man that loves a woman, you love a woman. You love all of her. The little nitpicky things that you're talking about, that's nothing. That's nothing, yo. So, trust, I know, because I have enough experience in relationships and dating. It gets to a point in a relationship, right? The researchers have talked about this. Marriage and family therapists, they talk about this. Gottman, actually, is a very prominent researcher, person that talked about, I think it's the 4 horsemen. And he says, if you see these things in a relationship, these are signs letting you know their relationship is headed downhill, right? It's even crazier if you begin to see these things, these 4 things. I made a video. You guys go back and watch. I made a video back when I was living in Los Angeles of the 4 horsemen, according to Gottman. But if you see these things early on, I'm talking about like in the honeymoon phase, supposed honeymoon phase of a relationship. I don't know who just joined, but welcome. Then you know something ain't right. It's like, where is the honeymoon phase? And the honeymoon phase supposed to be a phase where everything is just peaches and cream and rosy, and you're not looking for things to criticize a person on. You just see the good and the glory of a person. The reason why there's a honeymoon phase is because people be coming into relationships with baggage, with emotional baggage, and bad things have happened to them, right? And they taint that in the new relationship. So what could be a potentially good relationship automatically goes sour because they coming into it with this shit. And that's what I experienced with this guy. It's like for me, every relationship is a fresh start. I don't care what happened to me in other relationships. When I date a new person, like, I consciously create a blank slate and give this person a chance, an opportunity, and I look for positive things to see in a person, right? But it's like, then a person can be left with no choice but to see what is not working and the red flags, such as what I'm sharing here. When you got a person like that, right, that is like going out their way. And like, we said that, like, after he cooked, he spent all this time showing me this meal that he cooked, right? And I kind of helped him, assist him along the way with the fish. Couldn't even enjoy it because at the table he's just bringing up negative shit, right? His whole demeanor, whole mood is just negative, and I'm just like, ain't no fucking way I could be with somebody like that. Like, I want to have fun. I'm a bright person, a positive person. Like, let's have fun. Why are you focused? He's just talking about, granted, yes, these are topics that are very important to discuss. But come on, we're in the beginning phase of a relationship. Let's just focus on fun things. Right? His ass at the dinner table, sitting up here, talking about Indian man at his job, dating white women. And, he feel a certain kind of way, right, about it. And I'm like, you expressing this because you want to date white women? He was like, yeah, white women are the prize. And I can't, I'm like, I can't. I cannot. I just can't. I don't think people be self-aware, to see, like, themselves. He clearly wasn't. And then for him to be shocked, that's how I know he's not self-aware, because he's shocked when I'm telling him I'm not interested. I'm turned off. I'm not interested. Why? Because you sitting up here saying all these things to berate me, right? And then you're going to say that a white woman is a prize and you're putting a white woman on a pedestal. I'm just like, your mind is fucked up, There's no way. You're toxic. You're freaking toxic. There's no way I'm going to be around a person like that. Sorry, but not sorry. I cannot. And I told him after we left the dinner table and we sat on the couch, I said, you're going to be single the rest of your life, and that shit ate his ass up. What know about the red pill community? Only don't want to assume what you know about it. I would love to know what you know about the red pill community. I'm asking you. I asked you what you know about the red pill community. You brought it up. I don't care for toxic communities. I just don't. I distance myself. I stay away from it. I know about them, like MGTOW. The only way I knew about it, because somebody, in response to one of my videos I made when I was in Los Angeles, I don't even know what the video was on, but this person did a hashtag in the comment section, hashtag MGTOW, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I looked it up, and I'm searching on Google, what the hell is MGTOW? Green, yellow, red, orange. I'm not going to do orange. I'm going to do red. Wait, what did I say? Green, yellow, red. Yeah, I'll stop there. But I'm searching, like, about MGTOW, and I see that basically it's a community of men who have been damaged psychologically. And I even expressed empathy. I made a video entitled "What the Hell? WTH is MGTOW," and I got attacked because of the title. They didn't even watch the video. These people that just jump to conclusions and assume that I'm just another woman to try to tear down their movement. I'm like, you're not gonna suck me up into that, because I don't care. I don't take interest in negativity in any form. Like, that's not who I am, clearly, right? I made the video to express a genuine, innocent interest in it because I had never heard of what it was. And as I began to research, I saw that there are men who are stricken by their experiences with women, where they feel that men get the short end of the stick in marriages, especially, right? And having to pay alimony or child support, And so, if anything, I express my regards and empathy towards these men, because it's like, kudos to y'all for at least speaking up for yourself, right? But then I began to go down the rabbit hole in my research on MGTOW, and I saw that, wow, it's actually some toxicity in this whole, they call it a philosophy, I call it a movement, where these men have embraced this idea that somehow they could build a womanless society. And that's where artificial wombs come in. Like, they are really on this shit, right? They don't want women at all a part of their lives in any way, shape, or form. And they do imagine a society that women do not exist at all, right? And I had to bring it to him. I was like, well, that's never happened. And that goes against nature, Listen, I don't know nothing about no damn MGTOW. At the time, I was calling it MGTOW, and it was really bent out of shape, because I was like, you can't even pronounce it right. Well, listen, because I don't know. Clearly, I don't know about what the hell y'all got going on here. I felt bad for them, because it's like, these men were distraught, I'm telling y'all. These men are very bitter men. And I tie it back to men that I've come across that are on the dating scene, and they are in their late 30s, right? 40s, or probably even their early 30s. And I get it. Part of this is just the conditioning of society, right? This is socialization of society, where oftentimes men and women get sucked up into this whole thing and not being self-aware. That's why you have to detach. I said this at the beginning of the video. Detach yourself. You have to, right? We live in society, we live in the world, but we should not be of this world. Because if you're not careful, you'll see that you yourself are slowly becoming victim to the brainwashing. It's in everything. It's in the commercials. It's in movies. The social media posts that go viral, everybody is, being a hoopla about. It's in that, the conditioning. You have to be very mindful of what's coming into your mind, so that you're not impacted by that. These things are very deliberate. What we see with Keke Palmer and her husband, deliberate. It's the reason why that shit went viral. It's very deliberate, man. It's all about division. And that's where coming back to our identity and true affiliation and the truth comes in. Right? You have that anchor of Pan-Africanism and knowing that, okay, we are about the unification of the black man, the black woman. You have to have something that keeps you grounded in these moments to know, right? You have to have something to stand on, because if you don't, then you get sucked up and you be like everybody else out here, right? Like, no, you have to have something that keeps you in line. I know some people say, oh, they're free spirit, or they don't believe in anything, they don't, have any religion or spiritual beliefs or practices they subscribe to. But sometimes it's helpful to have something that keeps you grounded, right? So, all right, I think yellow, and then I said red. It's going to be the last one. Because when you see it, you see that you're exposed to it, it's kind of hard to not be exposed to it. We live in America, it's out there. But when you see it, right, then you know what to do with it. You know, like, okay, I'm turning myself away from this because this shit is definitely unhealthy. It's toxic, And know to have your own mind. That's one thing I love about myself, y'all. I always have my own mind and thought for myself. Some people hate it. I don't care. I get into trouble because, we live in a world where you're punished for thinking independently and having your own mind. Even at work, I got my own mind. I don't say I'm just on a quest to disagree with everything that people say, but think for yourself. What I know about it is that it's supposed to be self-improvement for men, truth to get out of matrix. In my opinion, it's become the opposite of extreme feminism. Exactly! You see what I'm saying? So at least you are aware. You are an independent thinker. See, that's how they'll couch it. You see, these movements, even like feminism, they'll couch it as something good. Oh, this is about women's liberation, right? On the surface, it appears, oh, it's something good. So who wouldn't want to gravitate to something that is supposedly meaningful and helpful for you, right? But then when you do your own research and you begin to unravel the intricacies of these movements, you see what it really is about, what really is underlining it, right? And you're like, nah. It's not about men's health or men's liberation. This is about division, dividing, conquering, and controlling. And when it comes to control, it's population control too. You can pin the sexes against each other, the genders, the men versus women, and you confuse things and complicate the sexes. And now people know what the hell they identify as. They don't know if they're woman, man, or what. That does affect reproduction. That does affect the birth rate. That goes against nature, man. I'm against anything that goes against nature. We got to take it back to nature. That's what it boils down to. And I'm definitely opposed to any movement that wants to be divisive, dividing black people, dividing African people, right? Dividing the community, dividing men and women, putting men against women. I'm against that. So if it's feminism, I'm against that. If it's the red pill, I'm against that. MGTOW, I'm against that. If it's healthy, then okay, I'll support the healthy aspect of it. But the negative aspect, no, I'm not with that shit. And I'm on to it. And I know that that's the cause of why there are so many single, not just black women, because they all try to emphasize, oh, it's a lot of single black women, especially successful black women. There's so many single, no, it's a lot of single black men out here too. Don't be misguided. They got y'all ass too. They ain't just black women. They got y'all ass too. Gotta rise above it, man. But those movements and people that promote those things, they get much attention, much recognition, much popularity and fame, and they appear to be successful. Those are just tokens. All right, so now I'm about to switch it up. I'm going to add some different colors. Like, I got to add some blue. This is light blue. I'm going to do purple. Yeah, and I'm hip to it, right? That's another part about being conscious, is just being aware and seeing things. And when I'm on dates, because I'm open to dating, right? I'm not completely shut off to the idea of dating and meeting a life partner, but I'm hip to it, and I can see, like, when a man starts to talk, I see his conditioning. I'm like, you know, and not that that's a deal breaker. I bring it to his attention. I bring it to the forefront. But oftentimes people become very defensive over things that they embody. And realizing you embody these toxic traits, these ideologies, and that shit is not helpful to conducive. It's not conducive to a healthy, building a healthy relationship with a woman. Oh shit! I knew it was gonna happen, y'all. I knew it. Look, I knew it. Oh wow. I love these colors. So this is neon violet. And this color. You figured it would happen too? Yeah. That's why I wore what I wore. I mean, granted, this is one of my favorite jumpsuits. I don't really wear it that often, though. I have a lot of jumpsuits. When we talk about the solutions for the Black community, oftentimes I have these conversations with men a lot. And there's so much focus on what white people do and white people this. I say, no, we need to focus on what we do. That's the solution. It starts with us taking accountability for our own shit. And I think it starts with the Black man and Black woman. We talking about building community. You got to start with the household first. Black man and Black woman can't even come together and build. So how the hell are we going to build a community if we can't even come together and build? It starts with self-respect and loving each other at our core. Yeah, it happened. I don't know if it's going to come out. It probably won't. I doubt it'll come out. Because I have other clothes that got paint on them and it's still there even after I wash it. Which reminds me that I actually do want to start designing clothes. Like putting my designs and paint on clothing. Alright, so next I'm going to do purple. But I think I'm going to, instead of doing the whole thing, the whole section, the color, I'm going to like break it into maybe 3 sections. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright. So I'm going to go with a smaller paintbrush. Yeah, I feel like we get our own way and we don't even see that we're feeding the system that we talk so anguishly about. We are partaking in that. We talk about white people this and white supremacy, but nah, listen, they ain't got to do shit to us. We do it to ourselves. And we imagine what we could do. Imagine what we can build if we united and we actually came together. Black men and Black women. It's up to us, man. I do get discouraged though when I go on dates and it doesn't work out. And I know it's not gonna work out because I'm just like, this motherfucker ain't even. You got a lot of learning to do. The last guy I dated, I was talking about the whole cooking thing with the fish. He was only 32. He lied. I think he said it's like 34, but turned out, motherfucker, only 32 years old. He got a lot of learning to do, man. So I come back when you go do some more living, and then you see. Do some living and learning. You see I was right. And the bullshit that you're talking about is irrelevant. These motherfuckers do be listening to Red Pill. Ask yourself, the stuff that you listen to, how is that building a community? It's not. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh yeah. I was like, ma'am, you just painted that part. Okay, and I rested it on my freaking thing, right? By accident. I wear aprons personally. Oh, you paint? Oh, you didn't tell me you paint. What? Okay, now you gotta show me some of your stuff. I just wear clothes and I don't care about getting messed up. Which is pretty much all my clothes. Because I feel like, to make more money, I just buy new clothes. That's it. I don't make it a big deal. Alright. Looking like it want to rain. I didn't know you're a painter too. Singing song. This is baby blue. Anyway, I always say I want to hire a chef, a personal chef. Anyway, that's the goal. And a cook too. Like when I get a bigger place, I always envision myself having like an island kitchen and making some cooking vlogs. Believe it or not, I've come to enjoy cooking. The things that I like to eat and cook. Because cooking really is an art, so I like art. Yeah, they call it trying to put a what do they call it? A square into a round hole. You're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. That's what people be trying to do in relationships. You're trying to make somebody fit into this toxic ideologies that you have been fed, and it don't work that way. That's not how we're wired. That's not how we're built as women. Even as men, you know, that's not how men are built. Women, sometimes we have our preconceived ideologies that a man is supposed to do this, a woman's supposed to do that. Life and people, we're so dynamic, and we have to be flexible. And I think it's the people who are the most inflexible, we the ones that be still single, because we're so inflexible in our beliefs and what we so-called are willing to tolerate in relationships, how we think things should be. It's those irrational beliefs. It's those shoulds. We gotta stay away from the shoulds. The shoulds. And just meet a person for who they are. Like, what happened to those days? What happened to the days where you meet a person and just organically just fall in love? You don't ask 1,001 questions to try to weed out a person or say this person is not for you. But you just meet a person and electrically, you know, it just magically happens where there's a connection. That's organic. Your best art form is writing. You write too? You only did it in art classes? You just went to art classes? Time coming, I know. Alright, what color do I want to go with next? I got dark purple. Let's do that color. I was watching Kendra G's show last night. There was a guy on there. He was so frustrated. He was like, I'm angry because I come across all these women on your show, and even in my past, that say they want a man that makes 6 figures. So he was like, before I started making 6 figures and I was making $50,000, none of the women didn't want me, right? He was hot. He was hot by that shit. It was like, now I'm making 6 figures, and I can tell he took the red pill. He definitely of that school of the MGTOW red pill men. And he definitely gonna be. He was like 44 years old with no kids. He definitely gonna be one of those ones, but it's unfortunate because it's just like we don't see how we're our own worst enemy. But he was like, yeah. He was infuriated, and he also was like hating on women with PhDs. He was like, yeah, and women be like, I got a PhD. He's like, I don't care about your PhD. Now, listen, I like to listen to what people say and ask them, where did you get that? Who taught you that? Where did you get that from? You didn't always believe that. That whole men, especially black men, attacking black women for their credentials or for their achievements, that's not something that it's like we gotta understand the hidden hand and see the hidden hand. There's a hidden hand behind a lot of these movements. And even if the movement has a black face to it, who's the hand that's behind it? Because you know that's some white people. If you listen to the things that people say, right, and you hearing black men talk like this, it's like, that ain't no shit no black man will say. That's some racist ass shit. Racism has taken a different form. And they're using black men to do their dirty work. I know when some shit is the mind of a white person, yo. You know. That's some cracker shit. That's some shit that a white person has said. Now, yo black ass then took it as truth. And now you going around saying it. That's not how black men revere black women. If anything, especially knowing the context from which we come from of racial oppression and slavery, if anything, we are proud of each other's accomplishments and we lift each other up. To say, oh, I don't care about a black woman's PhD. Now, it's a different thing to say that you don't care for a white man's paperwork. That's a different thing, right? Say that. But don't go here and talk about, oh, you don't care that a black woman put in an effort to attain the highest degree in her chosen field. Especially if that degree means that she's investing and giving back to the black community. Like, that's ignorance, right? And that, to me, I stay away from dumb shit like that. That's dumb. So that's what the guy on the show was saying last night, right? And his sentiment is shared by a lot of men who have swallowed the pill and wonder why he has ended up bent over, getting fucked up the ass by another man, because that's all part of the agenda, baby. You gotta see. You gotta see where shit is taking you. I be seeing right through shit. Even like when white men come on my page and they want me to talk about cuckolding, right? I'm like, okay. Right? For me, given that I'm into BDSM, I'm okay with talking about alternative sexual lifestyles, right? But then I had to let their ass know, listen, I'm hip to y'all. I'm hip to it, man. Now, I know the real reason why they want a black bull to fuck their damn white wife. And I made a whole video on that shit. I bust their fucking bubble, man. Because they really want to get bent over and fucked by the black man. And they using their wife as an entry ticket. She's an entry ticket for that shit. It's like a trade-off. Like, here, you fuck mine, I'll let you fuck my white wife. Which at some point, they were barred access. They would receive the death penalty, be killed on sight by the police officer. If you even caught looking at a white woman a certain kind of way, let alone saying anything to her. So now, the laws have changed, and black men are able to. Black men in their work, I ain't gonna put all y'all in that, but some think that you done leveled up. Think that, oh, I got a prize. Not knowing white people are, first of all, they GMO. Ain't real. That's a whole nother topic. We're gonna get into that, but it's like they think they done struck gold by doing that. And what you're willing to sacrifice, your own masculinity, your own God energy, not knowing that your ass is being suckered into becoming emasculated just to have what you perceive as a prize, the white woman, in exchange for your masculinity, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to get bent over by these white men, cuckold men. It's a shame. All right, let me see. In the same vein, that's what's happening with a lot of these black men who think that they done found some golden information with this whole red pill shit. Like you were saying, they spin it as if it's about men's empowerment. Oh, they ain't gonna empower your ass, all right? If anything, your ass gonna come out disempowered, and looking at how it negatively impacts your relationship to the black woman. Because while they doing work on y'all minds, with this red pill, they doing work on our minds too, with feminism. And all these other tainted movements. That y'all easily buying, we easily buying. It's a trap, man. Y'all gotta know. That's why I'm glad I always been questioning, inquisitive. I don't take nothing at face value, and I question shit. Gotta be skeptical. Like, what the hell? Hell no. Because you gotta see where it's going. I always keep your eyes open to, okay, what? All right, where are they taking us with this? This red pill shit. Where are they going with this? I feel like history, I mean, it don't take a genius to know this shit. History tells us, just looking at history, that you can't trust nothing from their motherfucking ass. Y'all fall for that shit every goddamn time. All in a trap. Listen to these motherfuckers. And then because they hide behind black face. Not that they literally put on a black face. It's a different type of black face. They'll use a black influencer. Okay? Like Kevin Samuels. I used to hate saying his name. Kevin Samuels. And his ass. You see what happened to his ass. And y'all swarm to it just because he got millions of views. That's how they get you. I have to know these people are puppets, man. I'm not going to become no damn puppet. That's why I don't got that many damn views. It's the truth. You have 30 composition books that you wrote on. What type of writing do you do? The car honk? I don't be paying attention. I'm so desensitized to all the noise outside in New York. If you're talking about the honk from a car here, outside my window, I didn't even notice it. Sirens either desensitized. Living in the city. I don't let them motherfuckers get me. They can get y'all. Them motherfuckers ain't gonna get me. I'm almost done. Well, with the colors, and I'm gonna go back and not this part, but the bottom part with the red, yellow, green, orange. I'm gonna accentuate those with the black outline. Yeah, y'all, I be kind of skeptical when we see like these black leaders, and not to say, okay, you should be distrusting of any black leader, no, but it's something to be said about an influencer. I don't want to say a leader, but I would say an influencer on social media who's black, who has a lot of a massive following, because y'all gotta understand, like, everything is controlled. If you get that piece, you can understand everything after that, right? You understand, like, this is all by design. Everything is a control, number one. Everything is by design, knowing that it's no surprise why they have so many followers. This is not by mistake, man. They control everything. how many followers, how many viewers, and listen to what they're saying. The ones that have so many followers and viewers. I learned this. I'm like, oh no, y'all trying to mold my ass. I learned that shit. I learned that anytime I make a video about interracial, it get a lot of, and this is by design. They do this on purpose. They'll try to make you think like, oh no, that's what people want to hear. So the influencers that get a lot of views is because they saying things or producing content that people want to hear. No. There's an algorithm that promotes them. Certain things are promoted before the audience comes. You get what I'm saying? It's set up by design where they promote certain topics in the algorithm. And then that's where the views come. Because then people see. Because you ever notice that when a person, an influencer, makes a post, I'm talking about when they initially hit post, how is it that they say they have automatically within 2 seconds, and this don't even make any fucking sense, that this person will have like thousands of freaking likes, but little views? Or vice versa. That's by design, man. Y'all have to know this is all engineered. This is social engineering. And with that, that's when the views come. That's when everybody swarm, because people go to where there's a lot of action, right? That's just human nature. They build these platforms based on our psychology. They know, oh, people are going to go over there because it's a lot of views. It shows that it has, 500,000 views. So that's when people are going to go, they're going to click on that. That's just how it's designed. What do y'all do? Y'all go right on over there. And not only do you go over there, but you believe it like it's gospel. That's where you go fucking wrong. So these black influencers, you take what they say as gold, as truth, as Bible, just because they have a lot of views. Not even knowing. This is all by design, baby. What you say? You just typed a lot. I like Kevin Samuels was not most genuine of all. In my perspective, he wasn't really putting himself in the red pill. I feel like a lot of people copy off of him and put extreme views. Nah, Kevin Samuels was toxic. Ooh. I knew that was gonna fall because those are my little animals. And they're so. Set this up. Coming out nice. But I have these little animals, and I always apologize when they fall because they're so fragile. But they never break, thank God. Well, I have that giraffe, and then I have my Maasai warriors here. And they are easily topsy-turvy, as you guys can see. So, the smallest little nudge, and they fall over. Okay, where's the wife? But I got some things to say about that. I ain't gonna say too much about Kevin Samuels, but yeah. Funny enough, let me tell you how I first learned about his toxic ass. I was on a dating site, right? And I saw this guy's profile who said, on his profile, in his bio, he was like, if you don't know who Kevin Samuels is, swipe left or something like that. So I'm just like, here we go. So y'all have to know, like, this is the thing. This is the reason why I'm single, right? Because, like I say, I'm not only attracted to people who can think for themselves. Anytime a person is following the masses, I know they're a robot. And your mind is no longer your own. Which means that you have been shaped. And you can be shaped. You're not operating from natural programming. You're operating out of a certain program. Our minds are like computers. Kevin Samuels, I didn't really watch. So after I saw that in that person's bio, I Googled Kevin Samuels and I saw one, all it took is one video. One video. And in the video, he was demeaning a woman. I said, I'm not going to consume negativity. You got people that are so focused on what they put into their mouths, right? They miss out what they put into their minds. That's equally important. They're about, they don't want to eat meat or they want to be vegan and not take any dairy products and all this crap. And that can be important, but if you consuming negative information, you're allowing negative information to enter into your mind because it's popular, that's problematic too. And I think a lot of men, unfortunately, they don't have much to hold on to. A lot of black men, you don't have leaders. So anybody that gives the appearance of a leader, right, wearing a suit, a three-piece suit, a collar, glasses, you're looking, it's just like you're blindsided by that. And so you take what that person says as truth. Oh, they're speaking truth. No, sweetheart. That man, he spoke much division. He was very toxic. And I don't think it was by mistake that he ended up dead, to be honest. I thought it was very funny in a sense because it's like the very man that want to sit up here and talk about, women, black women specifically, being, dying alone and hitting the wall. He was speaking very red pill and MGTOWish. See, if you're so blinded by him being a black man, right, you may say, he's physically attractive, right? He's, can represent the black race. No, you're blind. Those are your blinders. Take that off and really listen. Really listen and read between the lines. He was divisive. He was speaking negativity. He was very toxic. And the fact that black women listen to him, black women who have low self-esteem, who don't know who they are, I'm not included in that. I'm like, hell no, y'all are dumb to think that that's true. You don't need no man to tell you anything. Yeah, a lot of men will vouch for him. Because this is the thing, y'all get, you get persuaded because a person can dab in a little bit of truth. This is the issue when it comes to misinformation and being misguided. You can dab in a little bit of truth. So it's not to say, okay, he may have not been speaking some truth. But that's the thing about a smooth lie, though. It's always going to be a little bit of a dab, a little bit of truth there. And that's what you hold on to. And you get misguided. A snake is a snake, baby. And when my eyes are open, that's the thing. Like, I'm glad I have spiritual discernment, baby. I had that since I was born. And when you see things for what they are, like your eyes, you have that third eye, and you see things, a person can't swab at you with a little pinch of truth. Because you see right through it. You're like, hell nah, man. This is a snake throwing through, baby. But listen, he had this job to fulfill. But going back to, I think what was funny is that he would say to black women, oh, you know, you hit the wall. The language that the things that he was saying was very much consistent with MGTOW. Go do your research on that. The things that they say, they're all about tearing women down, right? And you may say, okay, well, it's justified. He has his reasons for saying this and saying that. No, sweetheart. At the core of everything, we're here to reproduce. Right? Now, if you're against reproduction, then that's a whole separate topic, right? My question to you is, do you have children? I don't take it that you do. Or do you have a wife? Where is your wife? So I think I'm going to finish this off with the fuchsia. Because you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. And that'll shut everything down right then and there. Yes, I'm still watching YouTube. Hold on, let me finish this. I feel like the universe didn't see fit for his ass to continue existing on this earth plane. It's good that he had a taste of his own medicine. I'm old school. And I have very much respect for men who are still old school. You don't need no new school belief to dictate and tell you how you should function and carry on. Because you already innate and born with that, you know. So I take caution when I come across people in general who be on a so-called new school wave of information, you know, because oftentimes they're just blindly following something and they have no idea what exactly it is and where it's going. And then you got some men that they like to argue with women. Those are those type too. So anything that presents itself for a space for them to argue with a woman, to have themselves heard, I guess, and seen, to make themselves feel powerful. And it just reveals how disempowered that they are as men. You know, it's a sad reality though, I would say, for black men. When I hear a black man holding Kevin Samuels up on a pedestal, it's sad to me because it reveals like where that black man is, how disempowered he is, that he has to look up to that type of person, right? And it's not about, you know, Kevin Samuels, he's just a mechanism, right? It's not even about him. Because he himself too was a puppet. Love the way this is coming out. But it really starts to pop when it add that black. That black. All right. So when I say take Kevin Samuels, it's about the ideology. So you can say, okay, there are certain beliefs that you embody. It's not about putting a particular person on a pedestal. It's about pointing out what it is you believe in. So if you believe in, okay, a man being a provider, then just say, okay, I believe in a man being a provider. Don't sit up here and hype up this person that you know berated women, right? That you know demean women, because then it becomes about you elevating a figure that puts women down, that creates further division. So then it's not about the positive ideologies that he may have promoted. It's really about himself, right? And it was a negative connotation altogether, what he represented. Personally, I like a man, like I'm drawn to men who are independent thinkers, right? And while you may embrace certain philosophies, right, and ideas, belief systems, or practices, that's one thing. But I don't think it's very attractive for a person to be sweating one particular person like that, especially a man, especially when that man he's not a good example. He's not a good role model. Where was his wife? Where was his wife and children? Non-existent. Alright, now I gotta find black. And the thing about black, I use it so much that I have very little of it. I run out so quickly. Hopefully I can find some black here. I got a feeling now. I ran out. These are my last two. Oh, I got metallic black. Okay. Let's see here. Shit. Oh, let me go back and see what you said. Sometimes it's weird kind of going back up to read. The only thing I looked into from him was him talking to young men around my age bracket. But know that the young man he talks to that doesn't really not have anything to do with me or those young men. I have no idea what you're saying. No, those men like that can't keep a woman. That's what it is. They don't want to be with a woman. And they swallow listen, once you swallow that damn pill, ain't no turning back. That's like once you get bent over the ass and fucked in the ass, as a man, you done lost your masculine, ain't no turning back. That's why you gotta be careful what you let come into your mind, man. These toxic men, it's unhealthy. It ain't no turning back from that. And it taints your view of yourself, of women. Ain't no turning back. And you find yourself lonely and miserable the rest of your life here as a man. Be careful, man. Some of y'all is too damn late, unfortunately. Your ass already been tainted. And yeah, your mind, they got your mind. I get it. Naturally, people, we looking for guidance. This is my shield. Oops. I'm gonna have to find a different place to put these. I just like looking at them right there, but this is kind of like a small stand. And they always be falling over. Alright, now the fun part begins. I think this bottom part is mostly dry. But notice how they get very impressionable minds, though. These are people who are already lost. They don't know what the hell to believe anyway. When you talk to them, the thought process isn't really congruent. This is metallic mixed with regular black, so let's see how it comes out. And like you mentioned, young. You know what young means? Very impressionable, malleable, minded. Even when I was young, though, I was not impressionable. I'm not even by my freaking own parents. They couldn't even impress upon me. That's why I think going back to we talk about spirituality, some people were just born with it, and you ask me how I kind of get into it. I think it was already in me. I think just coming across certain leaders like Dr. Umar Johnson, it further, activated what was already in me. And this part is pretty much dry. But yeah. Your girl always had her own mind. You ain't gonna get over on me, baby. Nah, buddy. It's a gift, I feel like. How old are you? You seem kind of young too. Young isn't a bad thing. Being young isn't a bad thing. Don't be ashamed of being young. We all were young at some point. Yes, this is gonna be beautiful. And even like I say, I like Dr. Umar Johnson. I speak very highly of him, and I talk about him being one of the first conscious leaders that I kind of took to. And I was introduced to this whole Black consciousness as a political movement. I'm still like, you still have to keep your eyes open to even the likes of Dr. Umar Johnson too. Anybody could be used, man, like a puppet. And I even noticed like his lingo starting to change. I'm like, hold up now. The way I look at it, when a person says something and you imagine a black person says something, you imagine a white person saying that, or it sounds like something a white person would say, you don't give it a pass and make it right because a black person said it or because a black leader said it. Nah. If that same thing coming out of a white person's mouth would be wrong, is wrong. That, to me, that's where the red flag is. That's where you should be careful. Because that's how they get you. They get black leaders to say things that they ass can't say. And then what? You bite onto it, you listen to it, you believe it because it came out of a black person's mouth. Think about warfare. The art of war, baby, it get tricky, man. How you think a lot of black organizations get dismantled? They get infiltrated by what appears to be one of their own. So it's a double-edged sword because it's like, okay, well, do you not trust your own people? Right? Because the enemy can come in the face of your own people. You got to be careful. And that's why we're under attack from all different sides, man. Even from within. 21? Wow. When I was 21, I was a junior in college. I was very knowledgeable too. I've always been knowledgeable. And I can see that you're very knowledgeable too. I'm naturally not very impressionable with my problem. I was put in a position where I had to be involved in things. I'm 21. I'm grateful to be young, to be honest, for many reasons. Oh yeah, I understand that because I noticed Dr. Omar consistencies with men in the school and his interactions. I'm a junior in college right now as well. Yeah, when I was 21, I was a junior at Florida State University. This is not really dry all the way. I guess it's gonna get messed up anyway, my pants. Yeah, don't be ashamed of being young. Enjoy those years. They go by so damn fast. You say you noticed Dr. Umar Johnson's inconsistencies with the school. I wasn't even talking about with the school. I'm just saying with his the things that he say, his language, his references, his ideologies, switching up. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Oh no. So this part, this is still kind of wet. Up until this part is actually dry. So I may have to go back over some of these. I appreciate you telling me those words. I'm very humbled by that. What are you studying? What's your major? And I'm curious, how did you come across my Facebook page? How did you find me? This reminds me of Florida. It's where I grew up, and my dad, he had like 4 different types of fruit-bearing trees. He had a watermelon. He grew watermelon. He grew dates, bananas, pecans. I know pecan isn't a fruit. It's a nut. I know. We have different types of like trees in this yard. That's what we had growing up. Tropical. I'm studying I'm studying construction management. Oh, really? What do you plan to do with that? Does it require a master's, or you can enter into the workforce with a bachelor's in construction management? say I unintentionally found out about you because I was searching some movie scenes. One of your videos popped up and stood out, and I took interest. I'm curious, what were you searching now? Listen, when you communicate with me, you gotta be very specific, because I always ask follow-up questions if you're not. I be wanting to know, you know? What were you searching? 50 Shades? I have not even broken my fast yet. I have not had breakfast at all. I honestly forgot what I looked up, but it has something to do with sex. And this is a few years ago. It's crazy. You look up stuff related to sex and my videos come up. Well, I am sex positive. Some people are like, what the hell is that? Sex positive? It's no judgment zone over here. That's just what it means. It's like I embrace different forms of sexuality and sexual expression. That's what sex positive means. So whether you're homosexual, bisexual, transsexual, you into BDSM, like, you know, I don't cast judgment. I promote whatever. I don't say I promote whatever, right? But I promote embracing one's true identity, sexual identity, whatever that may be. Because I feel like people are going to do what they're going to do anyway. So if you're going to do what you're going to do anyway, hell, might as well embrace this shit. Might as well live it unapologetically. It don't take that long to dry, but I did go over some of these more than once. So. We can discuss that if you want. I'm open to that. Discuss what? I'm telling you, gotta be very specific with me. I could be analytical, but I'm also very concrete in my thinking. I love it, you guys. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is my time. I told you this video is for you guys. This is an open Q&A video. Sexuality, sex. That's very broad, though. So what are your questions? What are your concerns? What are your thoughts? Be very specific, okay? I'm open to talking about whatever. But you have to have a question, a very specific question. Like when you first came into the video, you had a very specific question. How did I get into BDSM, right? That was very specific. What's on your mind? Sex is so broad of a topic. You can go anywhere with it. Told you I'm in a good mood, so I'm not gonna be upset at any of your questions. It's starting to get cold in here and turn this AC off. I can tell you 21. You definitely acting your age right now. That's why earlier I was saying you're shy. It could just be your personality too, more so than your age. You socially awkward. Let's talk about socially awkward, okay? Let's talk about being socially awkward. I know I'm socially awkward. I've always been that way though. I talk about how like growing up in my household, my family would like be in the living room, maybe like where Danielle at? Everybody else, including the children, would be in the living room. And my ass would be in my room, my door shut, closed off to their ass. And I would just be in there reading a book, minding my business, really. This is when I was young, like 7, 8 young. Or I'll be like teaching my class of make-believe students. With my teddy bears lined up, my baby dolls. I would have a whole attendance sheet. I've learned how to adapt to any kind of social situation for the most part. But when I'm in my element, it's usually by myself. And I can be alone forever and ever and ever and never and never. People talking about, oh, you're lonely. Nope, not lonely. Lonely is desiring the company of other people. And honestly, I don't desire that. Sometimes I desire conversation, but even then, I'll be like, nah. You the same way? Yep. And that's not going to change because that's just your personality. People be thinking they can change you, like in relationships. Or if you go to therapy, sometimes therapists make the mistake of trying to change a person's behavior when it's really their personality. It's not even behavior, it's just who they are, you know? That ain't going to change. So I usually attract people who are also socially awkward. Like in dating. My best friend, my best friend of 5 years, he was definitely socially awkward. That's the reason why we only had sex one time. He was like asexual. Some people find that hard to believe, but listen, there are people out there that exist that's like that. I think it does make it difficult when it comes like to dating though. Like I even tell like my people that express interest in me, like on a dating site, you know, and I can talk a lot over the phone. Like I can talk for hours, literally, and that's in conversation. That's not just me talking. That's me engaging in a conversation with a person on the phone, you know. But then I'll tell them like when we meet in person, I can still have a extensive conversation too in person, but I'm more reserved, so they get confused. They're like, "Wait, you're an introvert?" I'm like, honestly, I am naturally an introvert. They're like, man, so I'm not gonna get the same person in person? Maybe not really. I'm quiet. I don't say much at all. I can though. I can start a conversation. Like I said, I learned how to adapt socially. So I know how to initiate conversations. I know how to, you know, talk, stuff like that. But do I prefer? No, I prefer to just be quiet. I prefer to observe. I kind of prefer to be left alone, to be honest. And that irks a lot of guys' nerves when I'm on dates. They be like, "You're so quiet. You don't say anything." Even when I went to the nail salon yesterday, right? You guys see, I actually chose to get my nails painted like this burnt sienna orange color. But even my nail tech, he was like, "You're very quiet." I'm just like, yeah. Some people go to nail salons and like to talk to their nail tech. I don't like to talk. I just like to sit there and be quiet. And I'm okay. There's nothing wrong, but they feel uncomfortable. So my silence disturbs them. Now they have something wrong with them because I'm so quiet. They'd be like, "What's wrong?" Nothing. People are not used to silence, though. That's the problem. Just being quiet and shutting the fuck up. They're not used to that. They feel like somebody always got to be talking. Always has to be noise or something happening. Mm-mm. My life is very peaceful. That's the reason why I think I can be single for so long. Because I'm like, in order for me to be with somebody, that person, you got to compete with my level of peace that I've created for myself. And I have this unimaginable degree of peace in my life, yo. Just serenity. And it's unmatched, I promise you. I have no drama. My life is boring. It can be exciting, but to most people, I guess it will be considered boring because I ain't got shit going on. That's a good thing. I ain't gonna bring that drama over here because we not doing that. I don't have that going on over here. But I know a lot of people's lives are filled with drama. I'm an ambivert by heart. I know some asexual people myself. Let's hope my phone doesn't fall over. My life's boring most times. My house is very quiet too. I prefer conversations coming to me because it's easy for me to push through my social awkwardness. Yep. And I feel like if a person is going to disturb my peace with conversation, please make it worthwhile. Don't interrupt my peace on some bullshit. I get annoyed very easily. Like I said, I'm on a train, right? Let's say I'm on a train and I'm minding my business, I'm quiet, and somebody want to start a conversation. I usually give them the look like, even this woman, and granted, I meet, like, people be curious about me. They just want to make friends with me. I'm like, please have something valuable to say to break my peace right here. And oftentimes they don't. They just be asking questions. How long you been growing your dreads? That's the number one question I get asked by people, like random people in public. How long you been growing your dreads? They don't have nothing else better to talk about than that. I met this woman. I was on the bus. Granted, she's a beautiful woman. She's married. She's actually a social worker, licensed social. Well, she will be licensed soon. She's a social worker, and she was just like, that's how she broke the ice. She was like, how long you been growing your dreads? Then we started talking about mental health and all of that. But even then, like, I don't want to be rude. I'm like, damn, I really don't want to talk, man. I really don't even want to talk. I was trying to be nice, though. I'm like, honestly, I'd rather check my email right now. Because I was actually checking my email when she interrupted and wanted to have a conversation. All right, so I'm thinking, should I outline this part with black? You guys can see the top part. Should I do those with black too? I think I am. All right, let's do this. Let's get her done. Yeah, I get asked a lot of questions all the time. There comes a point where I get tired of painting too. Like, I've been painting over an hour now, right? I'm pretty sure it's been over an hour. I'm kind of tired. I had to block some people, which that's nothing new. Mostly white guys, though. Be messaging me inappropriate shit. It's like, y'all talk about, alternative sexual lifestyles and things like that, but do not be soliciting no sexual shit towards me. It's inappropriate. Tell them first of all, I'm not interested in white men at all. Never have been, never will be. They just is not it. It's not it. I gotta go back over that red part and that red part down there too. And then they get mad, yo. My thing is this, like, why try? To me, that's very disrespectful, inconsiderate, and selfish for people in general to try to force themselves on somebody that's not interested. That's like, ew, who does that? That's some rapist shit. That's some sexual assault type of shit. I already said, like, I'm not interested in white men. You gonna just make me somehow be interested? That's disgusting. Like, I don't mind when they send me their like their emails relating to their interests, whatever that may be. You can have your interests, right? But don't be directing that shit at me. Hell no. Get that shit on some motherfucker. I'm almost done. I'm gonna put it back over there where it was like in my window. In my window. Who would have known a stick take this long to paint? I don't know. I gotta wrap this shit up. You mentioned the sex topic, but you didn't want to initiate. I find that interesting. Like you say, you prefer other people to initiate conversation. But in order to make a good conversation, you have to contribute. What is your contribution to the conversation? You clearly have an interest in talking about sex. I mean, who doesn't? Especially in safe places. And this is a safe place. I challenge you to ask me a very specific question. You kind of did earlier with your BDSM question. I'm so hungry. I'm trying to figure out what do I want to eat. It's almost 3 hours now. I know it ain't gonna be no damn 3 hours. You know, damn 3 hours. Oh, you goddamn right. It's almost been 3 hours. God damn. 2 hours and 49 minutes. It'll be a long ass video. Jeez. Definitely gotta wrap this shit up. Nah, this is metallic black. So it might be a little glare. It's not purple though. Alright. I'm gonna do this top part black. Yo, when I do canvas paintings, it don't even take this long. I think what kind of slowed me down was the conversation too. Multitasking. Alrighty. We're done. But then I have to touch up a few. Touch up the red. But I ran out of red. Wait, where's my red? Damn, I ran out of red. Okay, that's not gonna happen. That ain't happening. Unless, let's see. I can squeeze a little bit of red here. Sometimes my colors get contaminated. Alright, I'm done. I don't want to mess up. There we have it. Love it. I'm going to put it right here. That's my brick wall. To dry. Alright. We are done. I'm very awkward when talking about sex. The first question wasn't awkward to ask, only because I'm not included in it or I'm getting asked about it regarding me. Yeah, I think we make sex awkward by not talking about it. That's what makes it awkward. It's not really awkward when you talk about it. It becomes less awkward the more you talk about it, essentially. Any final questions? Going once. Going twice. Alright, guys. that is a wrap for this video. I'm actually going to come back later because I'm about to go out to... That's my video. I'm about to go out to this very special spot that I'm going to come back and do a live video on. So, the sugarcane looks good. Sex is a touchy subject in my perspective and things. Listen, you're so young, okay? You're 21. I get it. What I want you to do is come back. Come back in 10 years and answer me this. If it's still going to be a touchy subject. All right, catch you guys later.